here.
Hello everyone, good evening and welcome to the first event that launches our public program as part of our current thematic series of events and residencies here at Delfina Foundation called The Public Domain. Over the course of this autumn, we'll be exploring many issues related to public space, and particularly the collapse between the physical and the digital realms, and issues related to this, from autonomy to privacy to thinking about accountability, both in the public sense and also the private sense, and where these two things encounter and meet. Tonight's event is looking more broadly at the current state of surveillance and the internet. And over the rest of this program, we'll be narrowing our focus, look very specifically at some of the issues that the resident artists are exploring during their time here at Delfina Foundation. We've brought together 12 different practitioners from around the world who are living in this space or living in London and engaging and interrogating many of the issues that we will begin to unfold during tonight's discussion. So the format for tonight will be presentations by each speaker with responses by some of our resident artists, and this will be followed by a moderated discussion and then questions from all of you. We aim to finish around 8:30. And without further ado, I would like to introduce our moderator for the evening, who will then take forth the rest of the discussion and introduce the rest of the speakers. Our moderator is Farrell, who is Senior Consultant at Interconnect Communications, but is also a writer who specializes in internet policy development, communication, and community building. Among many other appointments, Maria is a board director for the Open Rights Group, which is the UK's leading technology and civil liberties organization. We're very pleased to have Maria here, as well as the rest of the esteemed panelists. So now I hand over to Maria to give some context and then to also begin with the presentations. And thank you.
Thank you very much, Aaron. So, this is a terrific program we've got lined up for the autumn. Now, what I want to do is we've got some fantastic people who are experts in surveillance, in privacy, in encryption, and in thinking about what that means for individuals and for us as a society. And so I'm going to try and make sure that we get a great conversation going with all of those experts, but also that we really try and bring that discussion back to what does this all mean for us, not simply as individuals, but as creatives, as people who are artists, as people who want to be politically engaged in the world. So what does that sort of capitalist surveillance society mean to somebody who's just, for example, trying to write their first novel? I wonder who that could be. Here is a little postcard I got at the Ai Weiwei exhibition. I'm going to pass it around so you can all see it. It basically looks like a Hermes scarf. It's a very beautiful kind of motif. In the middle is the Twitter icon, and that is surrounded by golden handcuffs and golden CCTV cameras. And I just want you to think about what that means as an artist from China who has been under surveillance for many years, who's been under house arrest and has been detained for 3 months at a time. I'm going to give you, on the back of it, I've written a quote which means something to me anyway. It's by Virginia Woolf. One of the modernist writers of the 20th century. And Virginia Woolf, who is truly a genius and changed the novel as we know it, she said, "I must be private, secret, as anonymous and submerged as possible in order to write." Now, those of us who've read a writer's biography, we know that so much of what is in the writer's life and in the creative person's life is their correspondence, is their diary keeping, is their ability to develop and interrogate their secret inner selves, the self that they won't share necessarily with the world. And I put it to you, how does a person nowadays, in this world of the surveillance society, how do you keep a diary? Maybe you do it on paper, maybe you want to do it on a computer. I can tell you, as someone who's worked in this area for 15 years, I have not kept a diary for all of that time. How do people develop their ideas with other people? It's often in correspondence and in engaging and testing out and trying out ideas with other people, with peers, with like-minded and not like-minded people. I don't know about you, but the last time I put something personal or controversial or overtly political in an email was probably maybe 2001. So what are the implications of that for us as individuals who want to be creative, or simply as people who need and wish, as members of a democracy, to develop their political selves over the course of a lifetime. So we're going to think about those things. But first of all, we're going to have the experts talk to us about some really, really nitty-gritty stuff: encryption, Internet of Things, surveillance, how it all works. So, the first person who's going to be speaking is Dr. Joss Wright of the Oxford Internet Institute. Joss has a PhD in computer science from York. He's focused on the description and analysis of anonymous communication systems. He then did some work in Germany on privacy and security issues in cloud computing. Joss basically looks at anonymous and censorship-resistant communications, cryptography or encryption, how it all works, and the wider field of privacy-enhancing technologies. And right now, I believe, if his web bio is to be believed, Joss is talking about something that's very close to my heart, which is what is the interaction between the Internet of Things and our ability to be in public spaces and our political life. So we'll be hearing more about that. Then we have Dr. Marianne Franklin from Goldsmiths. She's the Professor of Global Media and Politics there. She's a doctor in philosophy from Amsterdam, and her research interests are the humanities and social sciences. She is, I know her mostly by reputation as the chair of GigaNet, which is the Global Internet Governance Academic Network, and she's done and continues to do a huge amount of work in bringing human rights fundamentals and frameworks into internet governance. And then finally, we're going to have Dr. Gus Hosein here on the end, who is the Executive Director of Privacy International, which is one of the most influential and really leading cutting-edge organizations thinking and looking at privacy and how it's playing out and what the repercussions and implications are of a lot of the stuff we hear about day to day in the news headlines. Gus holds a bachelor's in maths from the University of Waterloo and a PhD from my old alma mater, the London School of Economics, where in fact he was the research assistant to my old professor Simon Davies, way back when. We've known each other since about 1998, and we've probably been under the same roof maybe 5 times in the last 10 years. So this is a privilege to see him. Anyway, Gus has worked on basically internet, technology and human rights for the last 15 years. He's been an external evaluator for the UNHCR. He's advised the UN Special Rapporteur on Terrorism and Human Rights and lots of other international organisations. So that is our incredibly experienced and interesting panel. I'm going to give it to Joss to take it away, and then we're going to hear from Marianne and then Gus. And after that, we're going to have 2 discussants from the artist community here, broader discussion and lots of audience interaction, I hope. So keep thinking of lots of good questions and put them up. Oh, and this, by the way, is Ai Weiwei. And what does it say? It says everything is art, everything is political. All right, Joss.